Now, I feel I need to speak about this again. I just want to share a couple of experiences that I've had recently in regards to being serious about your purpose, being serious about sharing your energy with others. I've spoken in different scenarios, try to help you understand. But it never ceases to amaze me the hypocrisy that people project, and they don't realize that they are not living what they say. I mean, I could just imagine the conflict. I can imagine the confusion because I've been there. And now that I'm where I am, there's no turning back. I'm going to talk about a couple of things. I'm going to talk about a couple of conversations I had with some people I know recently. And then I want to talk about a situation that's going on with a lot of these teachers that are out here. And some of them are teaching you the wrong thing because of their personal issues. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is a couple of conversations I had. Just because you have turned over a new leaf and decided to live your life a certain way, that does not mean that everybody else around you is going to automatically just flip and do the same thing. It doesn't work that way because everybody's got their own individual path and their own individual situations that they're going through. They're living a different existence than you. Oh, excuse me. But you may have a connection with these people because of a financial obligation, or it could be, a relative that you share or something like that. And these people are in your life because of their position. But, you don't deal with them on a regular basis because you know that their existence doesn't match your existence. But there are times where you do have to communicate. Now, I'm speaking to a couple of people. I'm not going to call out any names or anything like that, but it's funny because these two people don't even know each other, okay? One is a friend and the other one is a relative by way of a relationship with somebody by blood. They're an in-law, okay? And these two people don't know each other. They've never met each other or anything else. But at the end of the day, they have the same outlook on life. Their backgrounds are totally different ethnic backgrounds, different geographical locations, just totally different on the outside. But as far as their outlook on life, it's the same thing. First conversation I had with the acquaintance was it was a rah-rah session in the beginning, but at the end of the day, before the end of the conversation, she was talking about, one of her family members, kind of like whispering because that person was around. And I'm like, wait a minute, how'd this conversation go from positive energy, self-awareness, us encouraging each other? Excuse me again, I'm just waking up. To 45 minutes later, all of a sudden you're whispering little things about this person behind their back. And it dawned on me when I hung up, I said to myself, that's the reality that they live in, and that's why they're in constant confusion. There's no consistency with that. It's hard trying to live an existence where you are 100% all the way through the process. There are times where you're going to be low and you're going to want to give up, but you don't. But the thing is, you got to stay on that path. And you got to exhibit behaviors as such. And there are a lot of people in this world that'll say one thing, but deep down in their heart, they don't believe it. And they live a life that exemplifies what they don't believe in. Now, a lot of people go around here talking positive, 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 but when you look at their lives and look at their relationships, you're looking at fractured and damaged relationships. And don't get me wrong, we all have them. But the difference between us and them is that we try to fix them. But we're also aware of the fact that, the other person has to receive that in their own timing and process it in their own timing. So it's like that we try to fix what's broken and they don't. And the reason why a lot of them don't fix what's broken because a lot of them don't realize it's broken. So there's a level of consistency in their life in regards to, it could be romantic situations they've always struggled with. It could be financial situations they've always struggled with. Always using the same approach, but always talking up a good game. But people see that. So this particular person, I still care about her as a friend and everything else, and an acquaintance. But what she's going through, having to deal with this person who's around her, I don't know if she expects. I don't know if she expects anything to change, or if she's just willing to just be in that situation and be okay. But she's not totally satisfied with that person or that situation, and I guess she's just gonna live her life as it stands right now, being not satisfied. And for a person like me, that's not good enough. It's not good enough. Why have something around you that does not feed you? When you've got to, question things every time they're around. Every time. You got to wonder what's going to happen one day to the next. It's a lack of stability. So anyway, the second conversation with the in-laws, I was just basically checking in to see how they were doing. And when I asked about a situation they were supposed to take care of course, I already knew before they came out their mouth they didn't take care of it. Because this is the type of person where they just allow stuff to just happen to them. And don't get me wrong, they're a victim, but they're a victim of themselves. And now they've gotten older, and now they've gotten more into their religious denomination. It's gotten worse. It's like they were a doormat before. They were a doormat to their own negative behaviors. They were a doormat to behaviors of other people. They were a doormat to the financial situation because that hasn't grown any. They were just a doormat, and now that religion has come into it, it seems like a bad situation has gone worse for them. They're even worse of a doormat because now they want to turn around and throw God into it and say, oh, well, God meant for me to go ahead and just allow this to happen. They just got it all twisted. They really do, and I'm sure some of you already know these people. So she proceeds to go into this thing about all the terrible experiences that she had, and and like I said, this is an older person, and how these terrible situations happen is always death and loss and mistrust and always some type of misfortune in regards to somebody else is not around, but will turn around at the end of the conversation and say, I'm a survivor, and the people in my group say that I'm this, and I'm such a wonderful person for going through all this. But the thing is, it was never addressed why you went through it in the first place. Just celebrating the fact that, okay, you made it through to the other side, but did you really make it? Or did you just get out of one situation and you're taking a breather right now because you haven't changed your situation? You're taking a breather, a break. It's halftime between the second and third quarter, and so you can gear up and go through the same thing again. Play the same game. Or are you waiting for something to fall out the sky and just wipe everything away? There was just no work on her part. No work at all. And the thing about it is that, there's that level of stubbornness in there. But people from the outside see it. They're like, okay. And now her daughters are going, and her son are going through it. And her grandsons and her granddaughters are going through it. And now you're getting they're bringing great-grands into the world. This is part of the generational curse that was created. Now, I don't know if it was something that happened as a result of, she's a victim of a curse that's been going on for years, but they're all living the same life, doing the same thing. And some of them are getting into religion and some of them are not, but they're going to be in the same place, telling the same stories, going through the same health issues, the same. But we'll turn around and say, well, God's looking out for me. Yeah, he's looking out for you, but he's also waiting for you to listen. It's always waiting for us to listen. So that's the level of hypocrisy that you're going to be faced with. On your path to enlightenment, you're going to see this in people. You're going to see the imbalance. You're going to see the hypocrisy. You're going to see people who want but don't want to do the work. Okay? You're going to see people who talk up a good game and throw up the smoke screens but don't face their own reality. When you're on the spiritual path, you're going to see that fakery because that third eye is open. And you're going to already know before a conversation starts with these people what they're going to say. You're going to read it. And sometimes that could be heartbreaking to people, especially if they're close to you. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about some of these teachers and let you go. Now, I told you before that there are certain people that I do listen to, spiritual advisors that I've had, whether they're people that I've known physically for a long time. And also, there's some motivational people that I listen to online as well. And there's some of them I kind of fell back from because I noticed that there was a certain pattern with the way they present the videos. Now, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with having a format. I have a format with my videos. I have my little, intro music, and I have my logo and things, and I have my title before I get into it, and then after that, I'll always thank you. So, that's a format. But with these particular people, they have a pattern, and there's a psychological reason as to why they are doing this. If you pay close attention to them, some of them are great motivational speakers, but their private life is a hot-ass mess, and it's never been addressed as far as their behaviors towards issues in their private life. It could be financial struggles that they're constantly going through. It could be a lack of stability in relationships with family. It could be a lack of stability in relationships romantically. I see a lot of that. And what happens is they'll project those unstable situations into the message that they're delivering, and they're trying to project that out onto the world and make it seem like you need to behave the same way. Sometimes when I do these motivational videos, I listen to them later on when I'm going through something, because sometimes you got to encourage yourself. And you got to be like, remember when you did that video about so-and-so and so? Spirit will remind you what you said. Because sometimes you have so much going on that you really don't realize what you put out there and the influence that it has on people. And when you reach a low point sometimes, and we all do, you have to remember what was said, the message that was given to you to share to other people. And I do that. But there are some people, especially I see this with a lot of the single motivational speakers. If you're single and you're happy, okay, that's fine. But don't sit up there every single time you have a video, or every other time you have a video, that you're trying to encourage other people. Oh, be by yourself, be by yourself, be by yourself. Maybe somebody is single right now and they're looking for their mate. Maybe they're single right now and they know deep down that they're going to be with somebody. But they like your content. And after a while, them listening to you say, be by yourself, be by yourself, be by yourself. If this person does not have a firm foundation as to who they are, they could be encouraged to believe that being by themselves is a better alternative as opposed to developing a fruitful relationship with someone else. And they'll take that energy, that distorted energy, into the relationship, and then all of a sudden the relationship is damaged, and they're thinking that it's the other person, when in actuality they didn't have faith in the relationship in the first place because they were brainwashed by you that you didn't need anybody. Well, technically we all don't, because we all came into this world by ourselves. Even if we're twins, the twins were born at different moments, or triplets or whatever. They came in at different times. So there was that short period of time they were by themselves when they came in this world. And the moment that they take their last breath is going to be their last moment. I understand that. But some of these people, you got to be very, very careful. They can have a good message when it comes to certain things. That's why it's good when you're listening to spiritual people or motivational speakers. It's good to not just prescribe to one person. It's good to kind of just diversify, because there are a lot of people out here that are giving out the message. There are a lot of people that are good teachers. There are a lot of people that are good storytellers that have lessons. There are a lot of people that are out here. But what you might have to do is kind of just cherry pick through what's going on, because they're going to slip in conversation and indicate, okay, that there's a bad marriage going on around there. You're going to parse it out. So be very careful with that. There's nothing wrong with being a fan of a person. I mean, I have done that. But I mean, just make sure that you expand your knowledge and your circle to include others, because they might be able to provide that little missing tidbit of information you might need. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. Peace.